Hey guys, welcome back to Horsepower and Gunpowder. If this is your first video, welcome. I hope you guys like and subscribe. We've got a lot of really exciting stuff coming. As I mentioned in one of the last videos, for those of you that saw it, the plan was that my buddy Derek and I, we were going to come down here and we were going to pick up our first project car. Well, I didn't want to video the guy that we picked it up from, invade his privacy, so waited until we brought it home. We got the car home. We just drove it about 20 miles on the highway. Perfect project car as far as I'm concerned. So we'll do a quick walk around, and then Dia and I are going to drive it and kind of show you guys some of the issues and talk about some of the plans that we have with the car. So here it is. This is our first project car. This is a 2005 Infiniti G35. It's a little beat up. I mean, it's quite a few years old. It's probably some rust on the underside from the guy had he used to load it with what do they call, wave runners, so there might be some rust down there. Brakes are a little iffy, might need new pads and rotors. It's definitely getting coilovers. It's 15 plus year old suspension. There's some chipping in the paint. We're definitely going to paint the truck, or paint the car. I'm thinking Plastidip, just for ease of doing it and the ability to change it whenever we want. Some minor body stuff, but I think over the next couple weeks and pending funding and all that good stuff, hopefully we can do some really good stuff. And once we get to a point where we've got the car back where it's reliable and running well, one of the things that Derek and I were talking about was doing polls. So when we decide to do forced induction, are we going to go supercharger? Are we going to go turbo? Are we going to leave it naturally aspirated? The plan is that we're going to start doing polls and different stuff with the car, kind of be interactive with YouTube, and just show you guys the process as much as we can, and just build this car on YouTube so you guys can see it now. We'll go for a test drive, and then hopefully in a couple months you see the well, I don't think it's ever going to be a finished product, but the work in progress that the car will be. So driving this car, we're going over to the airport to take my buddy's rental car back to the airport, and I'm driving this 2005 Infiniti with 188,000 miles, 188,400 miles, and it's really a testament to how long a car can last, a well-built car, as long as it's properly maintained and taken care of. I mean, I'm driving this car, everything works. I mean, the AC is blowing cold. Look at the temperature gauge. The temperature gauge is right in the middle where it should be. Now, I mean, that's assuming that everything is, all my sensors are good and all that stuff. But I mean, the guy that we got this car from, he's very meticulous. He takes excellent care of his stuff. And like I said, it's just a testament to how long you can keep your stuff working if you just properly take care of it. I don't know many people out there that would keep a car that has so many miles on it. But I mean, I'm shocked. There's a little bit of a clunk when it shifts from second gear into third gear. But again, the transmission's got almost 200,000 miles on it. I turned off the traction control earlier, and now it won't turn back on. It's showing some slips. There's some codes in the car. I've got a service engine light, stuff like that. But the car just operates exactly as it should, which is insane considering how old it is. Alright guys, so Derek and I were doing some talking about the car, and we both kind of decided that the best way to start the whole project is to go over everything that's wrong with the car. We got a code reader, plugged it in, threw a couple codes for some kind of engine or transmission rotation thing. There's a code there's like 4 or 5 different codes. I didn't remember all of them, but our plan is to pretty much just go through and change all the easy, cheap stuff, like the coolant temperature sensor. I think it's like a $15 sensor. I'm really upset that we didn't have the camera. We were driving the car the other day, and the car just died on the side of I-95, and for the life of us, we couldn't figure it out. I mean, we had oil, the battery was good, the alternator was good, everything worked, and we had a quarter tank of gas. Couldn't figure it out for the life of us. Decided to put some gas in it. Sure enough, put 2 gallons of gas in it. The car started right up. Took it to the gas station, topped it off, and once we were full of fuel, we had 5 quarters of gas in the gas tank. So rule number 1, always fill up the tank until you're familiar with the car, especially an old car, because the gas gauge could be off and you could be stranded on the side of I-95. So the plan was going to go over to Derek's house. We were going to start working on putting some of the new sensors in, looking over the codes, and putting together a list of what needs to get done. So unfortunately, the weather outside is less than desirable. It's actually let up quite a bit since I started filming. It was thundering and lightning and all kinds of crazy stuff when I was filming, or when I turned the camera on. So I think initially we're probably just going to sit down. I think I mentioned before, Alfredo, the gentleman that hooked us up with the car, he has impeccable notes, and we're probably just going to go through all of the service logs for the car. He's got a record for everything that's been done to the car since 2005. I don't know if I mentioned it. Alfredo, he's an accountant. He's had the car. He bought it new in 2005. Or maybe 2004. He's got every single service record. So we're going to go through the last couple of years and see what has been done, what might be next on our list, and see what we're going to put together a plan of how to move forward, what the best route is. First, to get the car functional and reliable, and then after that, then it's going to be, okay, what mods are we going to do? How are we going to start? Where are we going to go from here? So, given the weather, like I said, probably going to start with the paperwork, going through the records. Don't know if we'll do really any under the hood time today. Unfortunately, we don't have a garage, so everything we're doing is in Derek's carport. So there's a little bit of protection from the rain, but until we get, we're thinking about trying to get like a storage shed or like a cargo container, shipping container, something to use as a little shop, just to work on the car and have some protection from the elements. Maybe a little AC unit between the rain and the heat down here in Florida. It can be pretty brutal to work outside sometimes. So I'm waiting for Derek to get home, and we'll resume once we're inside going over some of the papers. Sat down at the kitchen table after we went through all the receipts, and we put together our primary list of what needs to happen with the car. So the big issue, again, the coolant temperature is showing where it should be, but the car just smells hot. So we're going to do a little bit more digging, replace that sensor, make sure that the car is at the temperature that it should be. So cooling is the first issue, and then we'd like to clear out all of the codes. So the codes that we've got, again, are the trans, the cam position sensor, the VDC, and the tire pressure. Hopefully that's just tire pressure sensors in the wheels. And then the biggest glaring issue after the sensors are done is the transmission. If the cam sensor, I'm sorry, not the cam sensor, if the turbine revolution sensor does not fix the transmission issue, we may be going out to find a junk or used G35 or 350Z automatic or manual transmission. We have to go ahead and change it both there, and I really want to go to a manual transmission. We just were hoping that we weren't at that point already. So after the transmission, everything else should fall into place. All of the plugs and all the coils have been replaced recently. So again, like I said when we were driving the car the other day, for a 15-year-old car with 180,000 miles on it, it's been maintained impeccably. The fact that we're driving it to Miami a couple days a week and we're able to just do tooling around town is pretty impressive for a car of this age. So again, thanks to the gentleman that we received the car from. All right, let's go outside and see what we can do. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and change this coolant temperature sensor real quick. There's just no way to do it right now with the camera on. We just don't have the equipment or the lighting. But I wanted to show you real quick where the temperature sensor is. So come over here on the passenger side of the block, right behind. If you see that, I'm trying to get the camera to focus on it. There it is. If you see that green connector right there, I'm trying to get good light on it without blasting out the color. That green sensor right there, there's a little bolt. That is the coolant temperature sensor for the block. We're going to change that bad boy out real quick, and then we'll see if the temperature, if we're getting a more accurate reading. We've been out of the car for probably at least an hour, if not more. I don't know if you guys can see me, probably not. And the block is still super hot. I don't know if him shining the light in my face helped at all, but he thinks it's funny. So we're going to change out that temperature, see if we can't get a different reading on the coolant temp, and see how hot the engine's running. Because again, the temperature sensor says it's running good, but we can smell how hot the car's running. So we'll change that out and let you guys know. Alright, I found a little way to get some extra light in here to kind of go through the process. The unfortunate part is reaching our hands down and getting the sensor. Quick update. Not really sure how well you guys can see us, but that green plug that I said was the temperature engine sensor coolant thing, yeah, no, I was wrong. My bad. It is not the green plug. There's a gray plug back there, which I'll show you in just a second. Hold on. There's a gray plug right about, let me see if you guys can see it. Oh, there it is underneath this little guy. There he is. That's the engine coolant temperature sensor, not this green one. So don't listen to me. Luckily we found out before we went too far. So as soon as we get that one changed, which looks like it's going to be a heck of a lot easier than the green one, we'll give you an update of what our coolant temperature looks like. Alright, I'm going to finish up this video. Last night we ran until about 1 o'clock in the morning. There wasn't a whole lot of video of what we were actually doing to the car and with the car last night. I apologize for that. We're going to work on getting some lighting. Our original plan was to actually do most of the work, but we still had some daylight to help with lighting. Unfortunately, the rain just didn't help us with that. We ended up not getting that sensor changed that we were trying to go after yesterday. The fact that we wasted probably an hour going after the wrong sensor didn't help. The thing that we really did accomplish, and it was big on our priority list, was going through all the records that came with the car and figuring out what needed to get done, what needs to get done, and put together our plan for the next steps with the car. So we're going to change out that sensor today. We need to get a different tool, and then I think probably next, if not very high on the priority list, I think we're just going to change out the entire radiator. There's no record of any radiator work being done, so our thought process is, 15-year-old radiator, 188,000 miles on it. Worst case scenario, we spend $100 on a radiator, get to learn how to put one in, how to do that swap, and worst case scenario is it works, I guess. I think the radiator we can do without taking the front of the car off. We can just reach down and take it off, but we will more than likely find out the hard way. So the first video, I feel, has been a little all over the place. I apologize for that. If you guys have any suggestions or comments, I greatly appreciate them. Look forward to reading them. Now that we have an idea of where we're going and what needs to be done with the